UFC 252 Miocic versus Cormier 3 has just wrapped up, and we're going to be going through the entire card, giving my reaction and breakdown to every single fight on the card, starting with the early prelims, ending with the main event. First, before we even get into the early prelim opener, can we just have a little bit of a round of applause for one of the messiest cards for predictions maybe of all time? This was a good card, don't get me wrong, but for me, this was an absolute disgrace. I got one fight correct to start with, and we're going to get to that in a second. I got one fight correct at the end, which is the only one that really matters, the big main event. Stipe Miocic wins, but we'll get with the early prelims. Kai Kamaka versus Tony Kelly. Great fight while it lasted. I had Kai Kamaka barely winning that fight, basically saved by a groin shot. He's lucky that Tony Kelly landed that groin shot, because if not, it kind of looked like Tony Kelly was going to start to pull away in that third round, but eventually Kai Kamaka got his wits back under him, took his time off of that groin shot that saved his life pretty much, came back in that third round. The first round was really good. That first fight to open up the night of fights, I feel like I say this a lot of times, but I said this before this card as well. When they're not the best names on the card, it seems to be a really, really fun card. And that's what this card was, because Kai Kamaka went out there and had great body shots. I mean, Tony Kelly started to look like he was coming back in the second round. I gave Tony Kelly the second round. I gave the first round quite clearly to Kai Kamaka as well. Third round, close at the start, Tony Kelly started pulling ahead. Then Kai Kamaka just took it back in the last minute and 40 seconds, winning that entire segment at the end of the fight. Tony Kelly really should have put his foot on the pedal. It was a close one. It could have gone either way. I gave it to Kai Kamaka, not to mention they both landed the same amount of significant strikes. Kai Kamaka just got more takedowns as well. Won it on some ground control and some landing some good shots as well. Kai Kamaka had a good performance. Razor close. Tony Kelly should probably be kept around because he's a fun style to watch. Kai Kamaka looked really good. 8-2. Great performance. Moving on, Chris Daukaus versus Parker Porter. I picked Parker Porter to win. He was the slowest man I've seen in my life. His spinning back fists were so slow, I thought there was something wrong with my video. I'm not joking. He was so ridiculously slow. I've never seen anything like it in my life. I picked him to win this fight based on his experience, based on the fact that he'd been in there with guys like John Jones and Gabriel Gonzaga, but in whatever, Chris Daukaus beats him. Daukaus brothers are some dangerous guys, because his brother, recently on another card, came in against Brendan Allen and looked really good on short notice against Brandon Allen. So clearly the Daukaus brothers are doing something right with their training, because Chris Daukaus looked good in that fight. Easy first round TKO, proved me wrong, was the more inexperienced guy, but he got it done. Whooped up on Parker Porter, great performance from Chris Daukaus. Moving on to the prelims. The opener of TJ Brown versus Tanis Chavez. Great matchup. TJ Brown, entertaining fighter as always. I feel like this is probably the time he's going to get cut from the UFC. Tanis Chavez went out there, so explosive. And can I say this? I was picking TJ Brown to win this fight, because I thought he was going to go out there and out-grapple Tanis Chavez and just take him down and have his way with him in the grappling department. Tanis Chavez has some of the nicest takedown defense I may have ever seen in my life, because there were many a moment in that fight. Even though Tanis Chavez landed a few good leg kicks to start with, there were a lot of moments in that fight where TJ Brown shot a real nice takedown in the middle of a combination and went for a good takedown. And Tanis Chavez, I've never seen, just shook him off like he was nothing. Just, oh, you want to take me down? Okay, I'll just rip you up into a body lock instead. And we're going to clinch from now on. Like, it was just crazy how Tanis Chavez was so quick to get underhooks and just drag TJ Brown up off of him from going for those takedowns. TJ Brown was looking good in that third round, had a great third round. I thought he actually could have edged that third round, but Tanis Chavez was going for some takedowns later on. Looks good there. Third round could have gone either way, but the first two rounds, Tanis Chavez with those leg kicks, I mean, they were fast and hard and often. TJ Brown just couldn't take it, and he had to fight the entire fight off of his irregular stance of southpaw. That's not what he's used to. He tried to adjust. I'm assuming that's why a lot of those takedowns actually didn't land. We can give some credit to Tanis Chavez's takedown defense, but I feel like another thing might be the fact that TJ Brown, that's not normally the stance he's probably shooting from in training. He probably has a preferred stance, which was the stance he was trying to do, but every single time he put that left leg forward, Tanis Chavez just chewed it up even more. Dangerous fighter is Tanis Chavez. It's just such a shame that he's 33 years of age. Such a shame, because I hate it, man. I look at these young guys that I don't really know too much about, and I look at their records, and I think, yeah, we've got something here. Danny Chavez, dangerous guy. Is he 25? No, he's 33. Fucking start your career early, you dumb fuck. Why would you wait this long to start your MMA career? You can't make it to the belt in time. Honestly, it's actually annoying me, but Danny Chavez gets the job done. Great job. TJ Brown loses. I imagine they're probably going to feed him to some guy on the Contender Series. I think that's what TJ Brown should look to do if I was him. He might get cut from the UFC because this is 2 in a row and he's not got the best record. Even though he trains with Bryce Mitchell, which is a little bit of a clout situation where he's got a little bit of a name because of it. I think they should just keep him around. Feed him to someone on the Contender Series. If he does get an upset on the Contender Series, he can earn his way back into the UFC. Other than that, though, TJ Brown's probably going to get cut. And Danny Chavez, looking good, moving up that featherweight division. Moving on, Felice Herrig versus Vera Jandiroba. Wasn't a good fight, but Vera Jandiroba destroyed her. I thought Felice Herrig was going to go out there and get an upset win, but apparently Vera Jandiroba, who's been to split decisions with some questionable women on her record, went out there and completely dominated Felice Herrig. It looked like Felice Herrig had no idea what she was doing on the ground, which is strange, considering that she's a professional fighter and she's been training her entire life. But Vera Jandiroba just went out there and so easily manhandled Felice Herrig. I mean, I don't understand. She just literally dominated Felice Herrig in the first round. People don't do that to Felice Herrig. They take her to a close decision. Even some of the good girls in that division. Vera Jandiroba went out there and completely dominated her start to finish. I didn't see that one coming. I thought Felice Herrig was a live underdog. And to be fair, she was, because those odds were a little bit disrespectful. But Jandiroba proved those odds to be correct. Came out there and completely annihilated Herrig. One eye on Herrig. One eye on Herrig's corner. It's the perfect combo with those Maurice Green genetics. Jandiroba gets it done. Moving on up the card. Jim Miller versus Vince Pichel. I picked Jim Miller to win. But apparently Vince from Hell Pichel is a savage. I know he was a savage. I knew he was an absolute savage. I also knew that he took this fight on short notice while Jim Miller fought a couple weeks ago, or a couple months ago, and had a full camp for that one and turned right around for this one afterwards. I thought Jim Miller was going to have a little bit more in the gas tank round 3, but you know what? Jim Miller had some real good positions. Vince Pichel escaped those positions, ended up in a favourable one himself, and just rode out the top game for the majority of the fight. Got the job done. I don't know who scored a 10-8 round for Vince Pichel. I understand he was on top for the majority of the second round, but come on. Is that a 10-8 nowadays? I know he landed some good shots. I just probably wouldn't give it a 10-8, but it seems like the rules for 10-8s are going out a little bit easier nowadays. So we're giving out 10-8s a bit easier. I'm okay with it. Maybe it'll be a good thing in the long run. Vince Pichel gets the job done against Jim Miller. Great performance. Not really much else to say. Oh yeah, I forgot about a fight, by the way. I really did completely forget about a fight. We're going to cover it right now. Ashley Yoder versus Livia Renata Souza. Yeah, that one happened. I completely missed that one right now, but can't blame me for it because I'm sure a lot of us wish that we'd missed that fight because it was not entertaining whatsoever, and every single time they seem to put a women's MMA fight on, it ruins the fucking card, but that's okay. Ashley Yoder versus Livia Renata Souza happened. I tried to black it out of my memory there. Luckily, my memory told me that I need to endure it once more. I thought Ashley Yoder won the fight. Livia Renata Souza landed some of the better shots. Landed more of the shots apparently as well according to the statistics, but just watching it, I thought Yoder was winning that fight. She was landing some good kicks, even if they were landing on the arms now and again, they were wrapping around, catching her on the head. I thought Ashley Yoder won. She ended the rounds in good positions, had some good grappling moments. Some people thought Livia Renata Souza won. It wasn't a robbery, it was razor close, could have gone either way. I thought it went to Ashley Yoder, it went to Livia Renata Souza. Another prediction I got wrong. Moving on. We've already done Jim Miller, Vince Pichel. Another one I got wrong. Terrible so far for me on the card. Let's move on to the main card. Surely after so many incorrect prelims, I'll get a main card fight right, correct? No! We kick off the main card with John Dodson versus Merab Dvalishvili. That's how you say his name, by the way. Dvalishvili. I don't know why so many people are pronouncing it so stupidly and retardedly. It makes no sense. Merab Dvalishvili. It's so easy to pronounce. Why are they calling him Dvalishvili? Like, it just doesn't make any sense. But still, Merab against John Dodson. I thought it was actually a really close fight. A lot of people disagree with me. I feel like they're going to be agreeing with me when they watch it back. I thought John Dodson could have won that second round. He outlanded Merab, he didn't get taken down, he didn't get controlled as much in the second round. I gave the second round to John Dodson. People are going to find that weird. But there was no grappling success for Merab Dvalishvili, and John Dodson outlanded him 12-9 on strikes. I give it to John Dodson. I thought he won that round as well. The third round was really close. Merab just did enough with the total strikes at the end in the clinch to earn himself the win, as long with some big spinning back fists that he landed. He likes his spinning back fist. He locked out Raytheon Stotts with a spinning back fist to earn his position inside the UFC to begin with. So it was only right that he used it in this fight as well. A little bit reckless. We learned a little bit about Merab. His grappling is not as dominant as we once thought. If he went out there and dominated John Dodson and ragdolled him, he'd be a problem for that entire division. But John Dodson was able to stuff some. Get an underhook, shake him off. Had a little bit of trouble breaking the grip of Merab in that first round because he's just so much stronger than Dodson. He looks a weight class above him, which is what I'm gonna get onto next, by the way. I picked Dodson to win. I think John Dodson should go to the flyweight division. There's no need for him to be at bantamweight, and if he goes to the flyweight division, listen, Cody Garbrandt is 1-3 in his last 4 fights. He's fighting for a flyweight world championship. If John Dodson moved down to flyweight and called out Joseph Benavidez, #1 contender right now, they're going to make that fight happen. That's the one fight that John Dodson and Joseph Benavidez did not have around the time they were in the same division. Joseph Benavidez, John Dodson, the fight that didn't happen a long time ago. Let's make it happen now, see if either one of them can bounce back. If it's Benavidez, please for God's sakes, just retire. We don't want to see you die. But if Dodson goes out there and beats Benavidez by KO, all of a sudden, Dodson's in the top 3 at flyweight looking for a title shot. Great matchups. John Dodson moved to flyweight. Merab Dvalishvili probably take on the winner of... I don't know. I really don't know who Merab should take on next. Maybe Rob Font. That would be a good matchup. Rob Font versus Merab Dvalishvili would be a decent one. Merab Dvalishvili versus Jimmy Rivera. That would be a great matchup. I don't feel as though Jimmy Rivera has done enough to earn himself a jump up the rankings. He's only just stopped his losing streak, so with a win over Cody Stamann, maybe we could do Jimmy Rivera versus Merab Dvalishvili. That would be a great matchup to make. I'm down for anything at this point. Just give Merab a jump up the rankings because, in my opinion, he may as well be like 6 or 7-0 in the UFC because his first 2 fights was a close decision that he should have won, in my opinion, but still close. And then a fight where it was kind of a weird situation at the end with him and Ricky Simone. Merab Dvalishvili versus Jimmy Rivera is the fight I want to see made next, preferably in December. That would be a great time. I really do agree with that. Thank you very much, Merab Dvalishvili, for winning the fight. We needed some new blood at bantamweight. I thought it was really close. And I don't know why no one else thought that either. But Dodson did a good job stuffing the takedowns. He just didn't do enough on the feet. He was not active enough whatsoever. He should have realised that when he was in the middle of the cage, Merab was not shooting for takedowns on him. Like, in the middle of the cage, Merab just wasn't going for takedowns. He doesn't get takedowns. He's got that very Khabib-ish style where he uses the cage to his advantage. And Dodson just couldn't break the grips occasionally. He should have been a little bit more active in the middle. Merab gets it done. Good job. Herbert Burns versus Daniel Pineda. I picked Herbert Burns because anyone with a brain picks Herbert Burns, right? Herbert Burns gets Daniel Pineda, the steroid cheats back, who's fucking ancient as fuck at this point in his career. Herbert Burns is going to choke him out with ease, right? Daniel Pineda, steroid abuser, 2 times failed steroid tests on PFL, gets signed by the UFC and is now on a main card against Herbert Burns. Probably going to get a bonus as well. Funny how things change. MMA. Herbert Burns goes out there, gets cracked in the first round, looking good in the first round for a second, loses position going for the back, and Pineda just sits on top of him for the rest of the round. Good job from Pineda, landed some good shots there. Then the second round, Herbert Burns doing really good again. Great takedown in the second round, gets on top, goes for a submission, loses position again. Daniel Pineda wastes no time going to work in the second round this time, being a little bit more aggressive, going for that finish, earning himself the TKO with a crucifix in round 2. I know I don't like crucifix finishes in general. I'm not going to question the stoppage whatsoever. I just don't like crucifix stoppages. There's just something about them because it just seems unfair. You know, because you're watching a guy on bottom in Herbert Burns who's clearly still there trying to get out of things. Like, he's not out of the fight. He's not out cold. He's not giving up. He's trying to roll out of things. It's just such an impossible position to escape once a fighter has it on you. I mean, we saw this in Daniel Cormier versus Volkan Ozdemir, and eventually Herbert Burns just took too many shots, started to slow down with his escape attempts, and the referee had seen enough. Good job from Daniel Pineda, bounces back, reignites his career in the UFC. Who would have thought it? Just this time, 10 fucking years ago, it feels like he was taking on Mike Brown and Diego Brandao and names like this. Now he's back against Herbert Burns. Daniel Pineda versus I don't know. Alex Caceres Giga Chikadze winner. The Daniel Pineda versus Steven Peterson. Daniel Pineda versus someone else with a name that's in the featherweight division. Anyone will do. Let's give Daniel Pineda one more fight. Keep him active because that's what he says he wants to do as well. Get him back in there at the end of the year. At least he got a big win on the pay-per-view main card. That's all you can really ask for. Good job from Daniel Pineda. Again, riding my lost streak of predictions. Wrong again. I picked Herbert Burns. Moving on, Junior Dos Santos. Speaking of wrong predictions, I picked Junior Dos Santos to win by TKO in the first round. I thought he was going to go out there and double-leg Jairzinho Rozenstruik. But you know what happened instead? I just need to really digest what happened here. Junior Dos Santos... And I want you guys to really get a grip of what happened. First of all, great TKO by Rozenstruik in the second round. Clean striking, great finish, good job Rozenstruik. But I want to say this. I said this live as well. JDS, you got a call from the UFC. They told you were fighting Jairzinho Rozenstruik at UFC 252 on the main card. You told your coaches, hey coaches, I'm fighting Jairzinho Rozenstruik. Your coaches told you to go out there and box with him for the entire fight. What are you doing? This TKO was not a TKO loss. It was not because Jairzinho Rozenstruik was way better than Junior Dos Santos. This TKO was a punishment for retardation on the behalf of Junior Dos Santos. I don't care how long you have been striking for. Why would you do the one thing that Rozenstruik has a chance against you at? Junior Dos Santos needs to fire his entire gym. I don't say that very often. He needs to fire every single coach because, I'll tell you this again, Rozenstruik was signed to fight Junior Dos Santos. JDS's coaches knew this, and they didn't tell him to take him down in the first round with an easy double leg and smash his fucking head in, which is such an easy way to beat Rozenstruik. He has some of the worst takedown defense in the heavyweight division. But JDS goes out there and boxes with him. And to be fair to JDS, though, before the end, he was looking really good. I know the numbers don't really tell that because at the end, Jairzinho landed a bunch of shots towards the end of the fight. It was a little bit of a sloppy, not a sloppy stoppage as in how good it looked. It looked like a good stoppage. It was a clean shot, but it wasn't a clean one-punch finish. It was like a flurry of shots against a cage, and there was a weird situation. Jairzinho Rozenstruik ended up with a higher numbers of significant strikes at the ends, but before that, Jairzinho Rozenstruik was losing the entire time. He looked hesitant. He looked like he didn't want to get Ngannou'd again because let's not forget, he just got Ngannou'd 3 months ago. But for Jairzinho Rozenstruik, you've got to give him credit, regardless of how retarded Junior Dos Santos is and his team is as well, for not wanting to shoot a single takedown and deciding to box with Jairzinho Rozenstruik and give him his only chance of success. You got to give it to Rozenstruik. Bounce back after a loss to Ngannou. Not many people bounce back after Ngannou, including the people that beat him. Stipe went on to lose to DC by first round KO, you know, including the people that beat him. Not many people bounce back after getting Ngannou'd, including Junior Dos Santos, even in this fight. He lost to Blades as well after this one. Before this one happened, Jairzinho Rozenstruik bounced back after getting Ngannou'd really badly, and now he's back in the mix. All of a sudden, Jairzinho Rozenstruik versus Overeem Sakai winner sounds really good because it might be an Overeem versus Rozenstruik rematch, potentially for a title elimination bout or title shot. Who knows in the heavyweight division, but Jairzinho Rozenstruik versus Alistair Overeem Sakai winner, fingers crossed it's Alistair Overeem, sounds like an amazing fight to me. He wants to stay active. I say don't keep him too active. Maybe get him back in there early next year, maybe February against a Sakai Overeem winner. Makes all the sense in the world. Good job, Rozenstruik. I'm actually glad that he won this one, even though I was wrong on my prediction because of Junior Dos Santos being stupid as fuck. I'm glad that Rozenstruik won. Younger guy, fresher name, still 11-1, which is a great record. So, you know, even though he got Ngannou'd, he's back. Fresh name in the division, fresh matchups to make. Rozenstruik gets it done. Great job. Moving on. Sean O'Malley versus Marlon Vera. I've made a full fight prediction, reaction video to this one, sorry. Reacting to the entire thing. O'Malley was doing really good. Landing really good shots. Great leg kicks at the start. Great footwork. Great feints. Marlon Vera was biting on a lot of those feints in the fight. I noticed he was really hesitant to commit to anything because O'Malley was feinting so much. O'Malley landing good leg kicks. O'Malley landing good front kicks as well. I believe he landed a good body kick at one point, a good round kick to the body. Landed a good right hand as well at one point, I seem to remember. Marlon Vera was He didn't really land anything early, but he was in the he was not being completely destroyed by O'Malley, but O'Malley was just getting the better of the technical striking battle that they were having. I predicted O'Malley to win by first round TKO. He actually lost by ankle injury. O'Malley goes down on his foot, destroys his ankle by just completely rolling it in the first round, and no doubt doing a whole bunch of nerve damage, completely rendering his foot useless in the first round, but he still tried to fight back. You got to give it to O'Malley. He's fought for a broken foot before and he's won. But against a guy like Marlon Vera, you can't be going down on a broken foot and expect him not to go out there and just finish you. Marlon Vera is not going to sit there and fucking hold on to full guard like dumbass Andre Sukumtat did. He's going to take advantage of a wounded animal and just get the finish real quick. Easy paycheck, move on with his career. Marlon Vera did exactly what he was supposed to do. You don't take mercy on anyone, especially if they injure themselves. You do what you have to do, and Marlon Vera did his job. There's nothing to hate on Marlon Vera for here. Just Sean O'Malley got injured, fucked up his own foot. Unfortunately, he rolled his ankle. It sucks. It really does suck for him. I do feel bad for him, but to be fair, if you were going to lose in any way, why not lose to an injury that you did to yourself? That's the best way to lose, right? It's not like he got chinned and dropped or KO'd out cold or submitted and choked out, or he had a real good first round and then gassed out and Marlon Vera just exposed him. O'Malley injured himself. Oh well, he's going to have a big bounce back fight. He gained followers, so he's going to have even more after this. The hype train is not over whatsoever. People know what happened. He got injured. He went down because he couldn't keep himself upright with his own foot. Vera pounced on him and got the job done. Good job, Vera. Earned himself a free little win. He must be so happy with himself right now, because I can imagine, even though there was a lot of hype going into this and they were both very ready to go, I would imagine Marlon Vera was really feeling the pressure, because if you lose to a guy like Sean O'Malley after he's done all this stuff to you, it's embarrassing. So even though Marlon Vera was coming out as a savage, I'm assuming he knew about the threats of this fight, and for him to get out of there with basically a free pass of a win, O'Malley injures himself. Good job, Vera. Do Vera versus Aldo. Do O'Malley versus Montel Jackson, someone outside the rankings. Or maybe O'Malley versus Cruz in a comeback fight. Who knows? Let's have some fun with it. I just spat everywhere. But Sean O'Malley, even with a broken foot, landed some clean right hands. O'Malley on one leg is still a really good fighter. Moving well, ate some leg kicks as well, but you know what? On one foot, did okay until the end. Unfortunately, the referee jumped in a little bit early, but he was taking into consideration the fact that O'Malley couldn't keep himself upright in the first place. I don't mind the stoppage. Saved O'Malley some concussive damage. He basically got out of the fight with no damage and took an L. Best way to lose. Well done, Sean O'Malley. Well done, Marlon Vera as well. He's going to move up the rankings, no doubt. Don't you dare, UFC, rank him below Song Yadong. I know you know that Song Yadong won, technically, on the judges' scorecards. Don't move Marlon Vera above Song Yadong, please. Just make a statement that we do not listen to complete robberies. It was a close fight, don't get me wrong, but Marlon Vera won that fight against Song Yadong. And by the way, it didn't even take place in the bantamweight division either, so it should hold no grounds. Well, it should hold some grounds, obviously, but still. Move Marlon Vera up the rankings. I say number 11 or 12. Sean O'Malley slipped down to number 15. Maybe out of the rankings for now, who knows. Marlon Vera gets it done. Great job. Moving on, up the card. Stipe Miocic versus Daniel Cormier 3. Marlon Vera versus Rafael Assunção or Jose Aldo would be a great matchup, by the way. Stipe Miocic versus Daniel Cormier 3, the trilogy. Amazing fight while it lasted. Great war, back and forth, big moments for either guy. I had it 4-1 Stipe. I don't know why people were confused by that score. I just noticed on some of the reactions online. People were confused by the scorecard being 29-20... What was it, sorry? Not 29-27. 49-46. People were confused by that. I mean, Stipe clearly won 4 rounds, guys. I know Stipe landed a big shot at the end of the first, and the commentary was ridiculously biased the entire fucking night, and that might have swayed some people's opinions. I hate to say it, but Miocic won 4 out of 5 rounds. Like, it wasn't that close. Like, the rounds themselves were close, and the rounds themselves could be up for grabs either way. Who knows? But Miocic won 4 rounds to 1. Like, he won the first round, outstruck DC 20 strikes to 14. DC had a big shot at the end of the round. I don't think that makes up the difference of 6 significant strikes. I think that maybe makes up the difference of a couple significant strikes. Stipe wasn't rocked that badly. Speaking of rocked badly, second round, Stipe comes back. First round, I thought still went to Stipe. Second round, Stipe comes back, looks great. DC's looking good in the second round as well, by the way. And DC landed a massive eye poke at the end of the first round as well that led to that big moment at the end of the round, by the way. But we will ignore that eye poke because Stipe ended up getting him back for all of the eye pokes that DC has used on Stipe over the trilogy. Stipe got the wonder eye poke of all time right in DC's eye. It must have felt so good for Miocic to land that eye poke. Finally, after eating tens and tens of eye pokes from Daniel Cormier throughout their trilogy, he lands one back. It must have been a great experience for Miocic. He gets the job done in the second round at the end with a big knockdown, double right hook, clean on the jaw, has a big moment, secures himself that round as well. Third round, Stipe Miocic all day, every day. Dominates the round, start to finish. DC's looking worse than ever in that round. I predicted that Stipe Miocic was going to win by third round TKO. It looked like it was going to lead in that direction, but Stipe stayed calm, clinched with DC. DC tried to wrestle over and over and over again, and I don't know why, but people are going to say this again. I guarantee you someone asks, why didn't DC just wrestle? He tried! This is why I picked Stipe. Stipe's a better defensive grappler. Like, he just controlled DC in the first fight in the grappling. Took DC down in the first fight as well. In the second fight, DC had a good takedown. Stipe avoided the majority of the damage. Got back to his feet. Took DC down in that fight in the second round. I don't know what fights people were watching, but it's the reason why I picked Stipe to win this one when everyone was picking DC, because people were picking DC acting like he threw away the second fight. DC was trying in the second fight. What do you mean threw it away? Didn't grapple? What fight did you watch? He tried to grapple with Stipe the entire time. He just couldn't get a hold of him. And he saw that in this fight. Stipe, great wrist control. Great clinch work against the cage. Always fought for the double unders first. Prioritized the double underhooks to keep control of the clinch. Amazing job by Stipe pacing himself. Earning himself a unanimous decision win. Great performance by Stipe Miocic, honestly. Dominant. Not dominant. Really close fight, but in rounds, 4-1. Pretty clear. Daniel Cormier won the fourth round, though. I think he won the fourth round. He outlanded him, landed the bigger shots as well. Daniel Cormier won the fourth round. Fifth round, Stipe Miocic. 4-1. Good job, Stipe, and I'll tell you this right now, and I won't take no for an answer. Stipe Miocic is the greatest heavyweight of all time. Done. I know they tried to create some kind of narrative before this one, trying to say that maybe that DC could have had the chance of being the greatest heavyweight of all time. Never going to happen. DC was never going to be considered the greatest heavyweight of all time if he won this one. Not whatsoever. Stipe, on the other hand, was a lot of people's greatest already heavyweight of all time going into this fight. Now he's won it. In my opinion, there's no more doubts. Two-time heavyweight champion. Defending two-time heavyweight champion. Broke the record for title defenses at heavyweight. Now he's probably going to go on and try and break his own record again, if he does choose to stay on, which it seems like he's going to, by taking on Ngannou next. Stipe's the greatest of all time. Like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Click that button there. Goodbye. Great performance from both men. Sucks to see DC go out the way he did. Want to say this one more time, though. Joe Rogan's biased as shit. Like, the whole commentary crew is so biased, it's ridiculous. Joe Rogan called out the eye poke in the third round in the post-fight speech. Called out the eye poke. DC said he couldn't see out of his eye. That's bullshit. He went on to win the fourth round. You don't go on to win the fourth round with one eye when you're losing every other round with two eyes. Doesn't work like that whatsoever. But still, Joe Rogan called out the eye poke in the third. To this day, has not mentioned the eye pokes in the first or second Stipe Miocic fight. The entire trilogy has happened. DC landed 30-odd eye pokes. Miocic landed 1. Miocic's eye poke is the only one they fucking talk about. Not to mention that DC was going for eye pokes this entire fight as well. And landed one of his own in the first round to start things off before he landed a big bomb at the end of the first. Good job, Stipe. I hate the bias from Rogan. Fucking toe. Click the button to the left, or the right, sorry. Whichever way it is. I don't know what way it is because it's reflected. Click that button over there. Like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. What an absolute disgrace of a card. I got Miocic correct. I got fucking whoever the other guy is correct as well. What's his name? Kamaka. Me and my guy Kamaka, I guess. Everything else I got wrong. I'm going to have to make up for it on the Edgar Munoz card. Like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Click that button there. Good. Bye. Miocic is the greatest of all time. Enough said.